Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Hero, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you have time, please drop us a comment in the comment section, give my video a thumbs up, and pass it on to someone else who may like it as well. All right, so I got an interesting question. This is one I did not expect. Someone came to me on Instagram and told me that there is a challenge, a new challenge. I like doing challenges. Sometimes they're stupid, but some of them I will actually do. I did the snow challenge. As a matter of fact, I uploaded the video on this channel if you want to see me do the snow challenge from years and years and years ago. It was so much fun. So somebody on Instagram was like, yo, Queen, there's a new challenge. And I was like, okay, so what is it? And they were like, it's called the No Nut November. Okay? So what is this? Basically, No Nut November means for all of November, people are challenging their friends not to have any kind of sex. No sex with themselves, no sex with another person, nothing at all. No sex November. That's what they should call it, is No Sex November. So this person asked me, what did I think about this? And did I think it could be actually beneficial from a spiritual standpoint? Now, this is my thing, right? I have not had sex for a long time. And it was, because I didn't want to. I just chose not to. Because after I got out of the situation with Voldemort, one of the things that happened is I didn't have sex for a year. I decided to abstain from sex, except for sex with myself, for an entire year. And the reason why I did it was because I figured something out. I figured out that some of the times I made really bad decisions because of my sexual appetite. For example, being with Voldemort. I got with Voldemort in the first place. Before I felt anything for him, I got with him in the first place on a sexual thing. We were friends with benefits. And I said to myself, anything that controls you, anything that puts you in bad situations makes you weaker. So if I'm making bad decisions in the pursuit of good sex, I'm messing up, okay? So I realized I had to control sex, not let sex control me. So for a year, I just abstained. After that year was over, I started to date and be intimate again. And I noticed that when I started again, I had more control over the situation. Like I wouldn't see someone just because they were good in bed. If I didn't like them, I didn't like them, period. And many of you have said to me in the comment section that you've held on to a relationship or onto a person because they had amazing sex. And that happens to a lot of us. And that's what I wanted to be able to control. I wanted to be able to control myself from being with somebody who was awful, or being with somebody who was abusive, or being with somebody who I identified as ain't shit just because they're good in bed. So I decided on that. So it was a year. I came back into the game. I was more in control of myself. I had more self-mastery, and I went back to being intimate when I felt like it. After a few years of that, I ended up not having sex again, which is where I'm at now. Because what happened was that after I went back to having sex, I realized that it's not as fulfilling to me if I'm not emotionally feeling the person, if I'm not connected to the person. If it's just friends with benefits, or if it's something more casual, it doesn't do the same thing for me. It really doesn't move me. Sometimes I don't even climax. So I decided to stop having sex until I decided to get married again, if I decided to get married again. So that's why it's been so long. So because I have done this, and many of you have told me you've done something similar too, the one thing I can say is that No Sex November is not a bad idea. It will be very good because certain people who have no control over what they do. They have no self-control over their sexual appetite. It'd be good, especially for those kind of people who chronically masturbate, addicted to sex. Those kind of people, this is great for them because it will begin to help them get control over their sexual energy. Now, I heard somebody on YouTube, because somebody on YouTube did a video about this as well, and they asked several different YouTubers to respond to what they thought about No Sex November. And a couple of them were saying things like, well, I heard that you can develop special powers from not having sex. And where they got this from was from Tantra. If you're interested in knowing more, Google Tantra and read about that practice, because this is a practice from the East. And it's not something that Americans really know very much about. I only know a little bit about it from what I've read. But basically, one of the practices that they do is during their, play or whatever, they try not to climax. It's believed that if you do not climax, you hold on to your chi, your prana energy. So many of them will do this practice for years and years and years and years and years and develop all kinds of psychic abilities or strengthen their already existent abilities through being able or through not engaging in ejaculation or any kind of release in that kind of way. So some of them don't have sex at all, and some of them do have sex, they just don't release. It depends on whose book you're reading, basically. So I feel like it is possible, because think about it like this. Number one, you're not going to develop any kind of psychic abilities or enhance them in a month. That's number one. So if you're expecting to be able to levitate, you're sadly mistaken, okay? After 30 days, I doubt it. Maybe 30 years, but definitely not 30 days. But think about it like this. It takes a lot of time to have sex, even if it's with yourself, because it takes time to pursue a person to have sex with you. Then if you do get them to have sex with you, there's a time in which you're having sex. So think about the time. Think about, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And if you're not having sex with another person, still 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, a couple hours there. And the cleanup time, cleaning up after you're finished, cleaning up yourself. If you add together how much time you spend in the pursuit of sex, having sex, and the aftermath of sex, you probably spend a significant portion of your life, most of us anyway, spend a significant portion of our life having sex. Because there are people who don't have sex at all. There are people who are asexual, which I didn't know a lot about until recently. So for those of us who do engage in, regular sex lives, we probably spend like 5 or 6 years of our life engaging, pursuing sex. So if you are not having sex for a month, all of that time adds up. And you can be doing other things like reading, homework, if you're in college or whatever the case is, or if you're in school, you could be working on projects. You could be writing a book. You could be doing creative projects, painting a picture. It's a lot of stuff you could get done in that time period. If you sit down and add up, if you're somebody who regularly has sex and regularly masturbates, if you spend all of that time doing productive things, reading books, doing workbooks, all kinds of stuff, cleaning up, maybe rearranging your house, you could possibly redecorate your room. There's so many things that you probably can get done during that time. So No Sex November isn't a bad idea. They call it No Nut or No Frat November. I call it No Sex November. And it's not a bad idea because of those reasons. Because you can get a lot of stuff done. It will help you with your control. And I would say do it more than 30 days. 90 days, a whole year probably would give you more. But if you're somebody who just wants to, see, do the 30 days and see what happens. Now, a lot of people tell me that it was very difficult. I've been looking at YouTube videos. People are doing videos about how to survive No Sex November. Like, it's really that deep. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, just do something productive. Do something that you normally don't have time for, Spend that time doing those things. So I think it's a wonderful idea, and on a spiritual level, you can get a lot of things done, but you're definitely not going to gain all of the spiritual things they talk about. If you Google it and look at Tantra, they talk about all of the spiritual things you gain through abstaining from sex. You're not going to gain all of those things in 30 days. But you probably can get a lot of things done, and you can start a process that could give you a much more healthy relationship with your sexual self. Okay? So I think this is also good because it's got people talking about sex and masturbation, because most of us pretend like we don't masturbate. We've never done that before, and some of us anyway, because I've heard people say that before, and I'm like, well, some people don't. They don't even go there, but not all the people that be saying it, So it's good to talk about this kind of thing. The more we openly talk about sex and sexuality, the less people can abuse us with it, the less people can, take advantage of your naivety about it. So I think it's good, especially because a lot of people doing or talking about this challenge are in their teens and in their 20s. That's the great time to be really understanding. I think we should teach sexual education as early as kindergarten. There's age-appropriate things all the way, as a matter of fact, even before kindergarten and like the lower grades, good touch, bad touch, things like that, I think need to come immediately so children don't get taken advantage of. And as we get older, we need to have more mature and more open conversations. So I think another thing that is coming from No Sex November is I've seen people talking about sex and sexuality and masturbation in ways that they're normally don't do. I did see some people who were very uncomfortable, very shy, very bashful about the situation, about the conversation. But most people were able to just have the conversation. And I think it's important for all of us to have that kind of an understanding about our own body and what we love and what we like. And this kind of thing gets people talking about that. So I think that at the end of the day, No Sex November can be very good. It can be a very good thing. Some people are using it as a joke, as a meme, just something funny to toss around. Some people not taking it seriously, that kind of thing. But for those people who choose to, it can be something that is taken seriously and is very helpful to our societies. So I would say consider it. It was one of the smartest things I ever did. Once I became in control of that aspect of me, I stopped getting into a lot of bad situations. Because like I said, certain people that I dated or started to date, I might have, like even with Voldemort, I started seeing Voldemort because of sex. But I gained feelings for him over time. See, that's what happens when you get into a sexual relationship sometimes. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have sex and go about your business. And other times you end up with feelings, real feelings for somebody who is screwed up that you keep having sex with because you enjoyed the sex. You see? So that's the thing about it. So seriously consider it. And if you choose to do No Sex November, let me know. Let me know what happens. I would love to know how much stuff you got done. How much did you accomplish during the month? Now, we're on the 6th day of the month. So if you start now, you have to keep going till December 6th because we're a little bit behind. But if you do, or if you have ever done that before, drop us a comment in the comment section. Those of you who are open to talking about it, or if you have a comment or a question, please drop it in the comment section and we'll chat about it there. Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. And you know I'm Aquarius, so I can talk about sex all day. So if you would like a reading done, please email me and I will hook you up. Also, all my information and my product line And everything else you might need to know is underneath this video. See you guys later.